It's a windy day, and I don't think these microphones will pick it up with these windshields. I'm recording into a Mixerface R4R with Clippy lapel mics that are XLR. And I think this will be the best video, so we'll see. I'm experimenting to try to find how to use disappearing microphones when I'm doing interviews. These are not the disappearing microphones. So let's begin with the Hollyland Lark A1, which plugs into my smartphone. Okay, I'm recording now with my Hollyland Lark A1. It has a receiver which is connected directly into my smartphone, and these are the two microphones. So I'm testing how it sounds recorded into the smartphone. 77 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Now we are engaged in a great civil war, testing whether that nation, or any nation so conceived, can long endure. And that's the end of this recording. This is the Hollyland M2S. You may be able to see the blue buttons on there, and I'm recording into my phone. Again, I'm using two microphones, somewhat separated to try to get some separation of stereo, and I'm testing how it sounds recorded into my phone. 77 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Now we are engaged in a great civil war, testing whether that nation so conceived and so dedicated can long endure. And that's the end of this recording. I've got my M2S microphones on my shirt, separation for maybe some effect on stereo. The version of the M2S that I bought has a cold shoe mounted receiver, and it comes with a little 3.5 millimeter plug. This is a coil. This thick part right here is coiled, and you're expected to mount it on your camera and plug this receiver into your camera so that it records to a camera, in addition to recording to your phone with the other Lightning or USB-C plug. But there's a secret. This is a big cable, and it's plugged into my Syntrance Mixerface into two XLR inputs where it will record 2 tracks. So we'll see how good that sounds. I have a Sony FS5 camera with 2 XLR inputs, and this will plug into my Sony FS5, and I can put the microphones on 2 people and do an interview. And this is tiny. So this is much more portable than plugging this into the camera or plugging in the Pico Gear microphones that I like so much. And that's the end of this video. These are my Pico Stream microphones on my shirt pockets. See if I can get a little bit of stereo separation. These are my favorite microphones for interviews, and they're transmitting to this receiver, which is plugged into the XLR outputs on my Mixerface R4R. As you can see, they're almost invisible. If you're wearing dark clothes, they are invisible. I'll give a test to see if you can judge the quality of the output to the R4R. 77 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Now we are engaged in a great civil war, testing whether that nation, or any nation so conceived and so dedicated, can long endure. And that's the end of this recording.